I want to jump on and connect with you guys because, as you guys, I'm sure, know by now what's going on in the world. Things are escalating quite quickly. But before I get into it, I want to first express where I stand with, the land and the rights over who has the right to be here or there. And in my opinion, and what I know to be true, is that no man, no human has rights over the land, because everybody should be able to travel freely. With that in mind, and with that said, I also have the ability to bring my emotions in and look at what is currently happening, where we're at in life right now, and that things are so different than when our ancestors were even here. And because I've been taking the time to, number one, sit with Creator and listen with, intuition and with discernment, I know that this is much bigger than who has rights over the land. I know it's about the evil versus the good. And this is a spiritual war that has now manifested into the physical. And I had said this from the beginning. If you go back, if you've been following me, this has been the case, and it's been slowly escalating to where we're at now. And I say all that because while it is sad that what we're seeing is more division, because before it was BLM, and every time it changes, it shifts the attention to the next thing that's going to get people worked up, get emotional reactions from people. And so then, there was the rainbow flag, and then there was, there's always something. So right now, the thing that they're using is immigration and more division. So the point is, we need to pause. We need to really use discernment and ask ourselves, what are we being looped back into right now? And not react is very crucial. And this is the important part of the message, is that you recall and remember that this is what they feed off of. They feed off of our anger, fear, anything that is opposite of staying in our center, on our heart, in our prayer, staying united. So I remind you guys to stay very present, but do not react, and to educate your family members, because while all this is going to potentially continue to escalate, the last thing you want is to get yourself involved, because what I do feel is going to happen is those who are blindly following will unfortunately get consequences. And I say unfortunately because there are good people that are blindly following, again, based on emotion. So that's the unfortunate part, and of course, fortunately, their goal is to get the ones that are stirring all this up, that have been causing harm, and that have been doing a lot of evil to our children, because ultimately that is what it's about. And to kind of go back into what I was saying at the beginning of this message is, while nobody should have rights over their land, and in a real, harmonious world, there shouldn't be borders. But because of where we're at, and because of the horrible reality of what's going on with the children and other types of, trafficking, it is necessary for there to be some kind of order or control so that there is a filtering happening of the people coming and going. So when we can remove our emotions and think about this in the broader picture of what's happening, and stop pointing fingers at this and that, and especially attacking your own people, because that's what's going on. And honestly, I personally feel I have to catch myself, because it is hard to watch. And for me, it's hard to watch my own people get pulled into this nonsense, because they are believing what is being told and shown to them, and they are reacting instead of thinking about, oh wait, this is what they want. And so I'm finding myself getting frustrated that we are so far in and people do not know, like they still don't realize what is going on, and they're going out and, you know, not even going out to protest, but even the posts, all of a sudden I see them you know, talking about indigenous movement, and you know, it was our land and it was stolen. And so they're doing all these things that the evil people want us to do. They want us to raise all this rage and movement and all this stuff. But where is all that rage and speaking up and fighting for the children? Why do my people stay silent when it comes to protecting the children and sharing about what, you know, the atrocities that are happening? Because that is the core of why this is happening. So as things continue to develop, hopefully it is contained. And it's going to require, for that to happen, it's going to require that we have these conversations and reminders. So I'm going to encourage you guys to continue having conversations with people that are getting wild up, you know, getting worked up, and want to contribute to sharing posts that are motivating to cause chaos. Because we're getting looped into what they want. So do not bite the bait. Don't take the bait. And, you know, what I feel is hopefully it will get de-escalated. At the same time, we, meaning, you know, I've been shown that this was going to happen. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. And so there's a part of this that needs to happen so that the evil people get completely dismantled. There's so many moving parts to this. I had shared that this is like, you know, an octopus with a lot of different, you know, tentacles, that there's just a lot of different components to this huge monster that is being taken down. So while this is happening, so is, you know, the case, the Diddy case, and, you know, just a lot of distractions left and right. There's the list that hasn't come out yet, and I have my understanding, you know, my comprehension as to why it hasn't come out yet. And there's a lot of speculation. And the reality is that when there's a list with so many people on there, it has to get thoroughly checked. It has to get thoroughly reviewed and make sure that some of the people on there are not victims. And what I mean by victims is that they were not set up, because the way this whole evil worked is that they set a lot of people up to blackmail them. So it's a big process. It's not just about here you go, and at the same time, the list has been released. There's different, you know, I guess, places that you can find it. People are just not searching for it. People want things easily. Now, with that in mind and said, the other thing that I want to also speak into is the whole AI situation, there's also that part. There's so much fake stuff out there. You know, I talked about the tricksters. I talked about that both sides were infiltrated. So how do you know what information is true and real? You know, this is why I said in the last message is, you know, AI is not for the people, because it is confusing. It's putting a lot of confusion out there, and now we're starting to see it. We don't know what videos are real because they've gotten so good now, and so our discernment is so important right now, more than anything. So as things continue to get revealed, things are going to potentially escalate even more, because we are at that breaking point. So just to kind of, you know, close, don't get involved. Stay praying as always. Stay, just really stay grounded. Stay grounded. Do all the things that we've been told to do. You know, Creator has been guiding us for a while now through all these things. There's going to be potential things that are going to happen that are going to challenge us emotionally, but I just have to keep saying, you know, don't get pulled into it, because that's just not going to be healthy for anybody. That's all I can say. You know, as you can see, I'm working through my emotions, you know, but at the same time, I'm remembering and I'm trusting, and I have to remind you guys, it's about keeping our heart and our eyes and our ears focused on Creator, you know, on His Word, keeping ourselves rooted and planted in His Word and in His faith. So if you can continue doing that, no matter what it looks like out there, then you're going to be fine. Pay attention to how conveniently a lot of these, what are supposed to be indigenous people that are out there protesting, have masks on. You know, that's a telling sign that a lot of this is planned. That's just my observation and opinion. I have to say it that way. But, you know, kind of pay attention to that. And that's very telling. I saw, you know, that there's bricks that were set up on the sidewalk. It's kind of like the same thing repeating itself all over again from when the BLM riots happened. So there's, you know, bricks there, and, you know, a lot of them don't even look indigenous. So you got to ask yourself, who is setting all this up? So, you know, just stay safe, be in your prayer, and just know that if you guys need to have a conversation, you're feeling, you know, like the emotions are rising and you need support, you can reach out. So blessings to you guys, and hang in there.